Hi guys, welcome again. This is Madam and King, and today I am going to be talking to you about a little piece of our Bangwa culture that is a little long lost and forgotten, and that is tribal marks. I think in many African cultures particularly, you see a lot of people with tribal marks. What are tribal marks? Tribal marks are often like those kind of like scar that you see very particularly drawn on people's faces. And you often see this within the West African region where like people's faces have like scars, right? And basically those are called tribal marks. So how do we have tribal marks in the Bangwa culture? Have we ever used tribal marks? What is the deal with tribal marks? I am going to talk to you a little bit about like tribal marks in Cameroon and the Bangwa culture. I'm going to just tell you one reason why we used tribal marks. They're not used today, but in the past, they people used to use tribal marks for a very particular and interesting reason, and that was to kind of mark their kids, and it could be like a family emblem or like a community or tribal emblem, just to indicate that this person belonged to this particular tribe. The reason why the Bangwa people sort of started using tribal marks. This is kind of the recollection of my grandmother and my mom. So I talked to them about why we use tribal marks. Basically, what my mom told me is that a long time ago, way before she was born, and my grandma sort of confirmed this, there used to be a lot of kidnappings in the Bangwa land. And so people from different tribes, since we are kind of surrounded by different tribes, and those tribes sort of speak different languages, and while we interact with them, we don't interact with them every day and that often. People will come and kidnap other people's kids and then take it to their tribes. And then you will never hear from the kid again. And you will never be able to find that kid because guess what? They've been kidnapped. And I guess sometimes in the Bangwa culture, people were often kidnapped from the Bangwa land and taken to different tribes, and you will never see those kids. And if you really think about it, with the lack of technology, it's really hard to find someone once they've been kidnapped or stolen from their house or community and so forth. And so a lot of time people use tribal marks just to mark like like whatever symbol that they have to indicate that this person is from this tribe, this person is from this household within this tribe, or this person is from a particular community. And so what that did was that if you go to a different tribes and you're doing something, or like say you're shopping or you're interacting with somebody, or you're going somewhere and you're passing through like a different region to go, and if you see a kid or you see somebody with that mark, that indicates to you that they might have been kidnapped. And so you can find a way, and then you can go back and inform people, the king and people in your community, that, hey, when I was going to this and this, I saw this person, and this person have this symbol on their face, and they might have been kidnapped. And then that allows your community to then go into the other community or ethnic group and then search and find that person. And so that helped kind of curb kidnapping, because people were afraid that if you kidnap a child that had a marking on them, and then there's a target on you, because people are going to be able to very much recognize that, hey, this child is not from this community, because the mark that they have on your face is not the mark that we have on our faces or people in our community have on our faces here. And so that indicates that, hey, you kidnap somebody, you stole someone. And one thing that we really don't talk about is slave trade in the Bangwa culture. Up to like very recently, and I have people who are still alive in their 90s and stuff, that experienced the last leg of slavery in the Bangwa culture. And so, with that, imagine somebody kidnapping your kid and then selling it to a different community so they can become slaves or they could become wives. And oftentimes, little girls were the target of kidnapping because you also have the bright price. If you kidnap a girl and then you marry her off and then you make money off of her. And so if you think about that chain of like succession, you see how kidnapping will be very rampant where there's opportunity, right? And so that's how the Bangla people use tribal marks. I'm not saying that that's the only reason. There are other reasons, such as sometimes people have marks on different parts of their body. It might not necessarily be on their face, but different part of their body because of maybe something happened and they wanted to put some medicine in them, and so they like created a mark on them, and then just to like so they can have like the liquid medicine penetrate through their body and so forth. And so I will be remiss if I talk about kidnapping and tribal marks without giving you some statistics on how frequently people are kidnapped and how big kidnapping and human trafficking is, right? Now, let me give you some stats on the United States and missing people. So, as of 2022, 73,718 people were missing. That is like kind of 2 years ago. And as far as human trafficking and kidnapping go by countries, India has the second most number of missing people by which is 64,851 people go missing every single year. In the United Kingdom, that number is 180,000 people go missing every year. Also in Syria, which is like a country that is war torn. Many people also go missing. In Nigeria and Mexico, many people go missing, right? And so I'm not saying that tribal marks were justified or were the solution, but I think that tribal marks kind of were used to kind of help prevent kidnapping because people were afraid that they're putting a target on themselves by kidnapping somebody who has tribal marks on them. It wasn't used as a beauty thing or anything like that. It was literally used to say, hey, this child belongs to this community. And if you see her, return her. If you see her somewhere, return her because she doesn't belong there. Somebody probably took her. And my mom was telling me that when she was growing up, they were not allowed to go to the river, which is like a 5-minute walk by themselves because people were afraid that they will be kidnapped, right? So usually tribal marks were put on people as soon as maybe they started going places by themselves, which is like really young. It could be as young as 4 and 5, right? You can start walking around, going here and there and coming back because you know your way around. And so as soon as you get to that point in your life, you have people mark you, basically, literally taking off a piece of your skin, if you really think about it. And so when it heals, you kind of have the indentation that leaves the marks, which becomes tribal marks. And so, again, thank you again. This is a super cool and interesting fact about Bangla culture that I didn't know. And I hope you find this interesting. Thank you.